No, that's not the Wyatt Six. They moved to SmackDown. That's just Netflix glitching. These are my assorted thoughts on the February 3rd, 2025 WWE RAW. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. From Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to get all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, WWE Premium Live Event prediction and review videos, wrestling opinion pieces, and assorted thoughts on SmackDown and Raw. Now, I'm recording this a couple of days after Raw on the 5th of February. It's around just a little bit before 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, I guess talking about this show, let's get the elephant in the room and the elephant in my, I think, video title out of the way. Yeah, there was glitching. At first, I was wondering if it was something to do with our internet connection, but no, it wasn't that. And then I was watching it with my brother, and he said, it's not Netflix. And I realized, wait a second, it probably wasn't Netflix. It probably was a transmission issue at the site. It looked very snowy in Cleveland. So maybe there was some like transmitter issue getting to Netflix because the ads were fine. All the graphics seemed to be fine, unless they were graphics being sent from the location. But of course, that didn't stop people from online from speculating that the Wyatt Six were interfering with the feed. They were trying to see where the glitches happened, and it was related to Sami Zayn. Was it maybe Karrion Kross working with the Wyatts? No, I think it was just technical issues, and hopefully they'll get it sorted out by next time. And I actually, maybe it was, but I don't think it was Netflix's fault. One thing I did notice on this show is that Sami Zayn really has bad luck with Elimination Chamber qualifier opponents. Last year, it was Randy Orton having recently returned. This year, it was CM Punk going for WrestleMania main event or bust. Two of the guys that you absolutely expected to be in the Elimination Chamber after they didn't win the Royal Rumble. But yet, here's Sami facing CM Punk. As a huge Sami Zayn fan, when I first heard that, I'm like, great, Sami's not making it to the chamber. But then I realized, wait a second, we get to see Sami Zayn versus CM Punk on TV or on Netflix, on Raw. Unless it's the Raw premiere on Netflix, CM Punk doesn't usually wrestle Raw matches or TV matches, and these two have never faced off against each other. I started to realize, wait a second, this is an incredible main event. And I really enjoyed the match. This is awesome. Yes, it was awesome. The emotion, the storytelling in that match was incredible. I mean, at one point, Punk had Sammy's look at that. It points to the WrestleMania sign. He's he called him Ska Boy. I got to research and see what that's all about. But he's like, look at that. That's for me. And then Sammy comes back almost to live kicks him, but he misses. And then Punk does the go to sleep. Sammy does the roll up. 1, 2, almost a 3. There was a lot of drama. I was believing Sami might win, but there was amazing storytelling in that match. And Sami didn't win. We got CM Punk pointing at the WrestleMania sign. Okay, Punk, I know you talk about that sign in all your promos. You were talking about pointing at it when it wasn't even there. That's fine. Now that it's there, if you win the Royal Rumble or you win the Elimination Chamber, point at the sign. Not when you've won a match qualifying you to get into the Elimination Chamber and not in the Elimination Chamber and definitely not in the Royal Rumble. Whenever somebody points at the sign in the Royal Rumble before the Rumble is over, I'm like, okay, that person's not winning. So, don't jinx yourself, Punk, please. I kind of hope you do win Elimination Chamber because I do want to see you and Cody at WrestleMania. And of course, there was that Punk and Sami Zayn handshake at the end. Now, in reality, apparently these two guys don't get along. There is some beef, which sort of came out in the reality of the match. I don't know if it's as much or less or more than he had with Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre, but it's good that at least character-wise, they're shaking hands, they're respectful with each other, they're both staying baby faces, which is more than I can say for Kevin Owens. Owens came in, knocked out Punk. Because of the glitching, I didn't see that he had knocked out CM Punk before he gave the package pile driver to Sami Zayn. So I was saying to my brother, why isn't Punk helping? No, he knocked Zayn into Punk, and then he gave the package pile driver to Zayn. I'm thinking, wasn't this guy pretty much dead on Saturday or just medically unable to do anything or compete? Apparently, yeah, he was selling it really well. I rewatched it without the glitching, and because the glitching was really bad at this point. I rewatched the video, and yeah, that was actually really good selling. He was still selling the injury. He was stumbling around. He was hard to walk, but he still was able to sneak up, take out Punk, and do a package pile driver on Sami Zayn. So there you go. That's your WrestleMania match. I mean, maybe there's an Elimination Chamber match before it. I'd kind of like to see Zayn at the Elimination Chamber in some capacity. But I mean, obviously saving the him and Owens match for WrestleMania makes sense. And I don't know if Zayn's going to be able to compete at Elimination Chamber storyline-wise because he just got a package pile driver. It'd just be a real shame if he missed the Toronto Stadium show. But you know what? Zayn and Owens at WrestleMania, if it's built properly and storyline-wise, I'm okay with that. And I was also okay with what Seth Rollins said before, perfectly in character. I'm not so sure about this outfit. I don't know what he's trying to look like. It's a weird, I mean, his outfits are usually out there. This one, I'm not sure if I'm buying it. Anyways, regardless, I can be a fashion police a little bit later in this video as well too. But no, what he said made perfect sense. That for his character, he's claiming to be the one who took out Roman Reigns, which I think he was. And if Roman is off TV for a while, that could be interesting. Maybe we're doing Seth versus Roman at WrestleMania. That could be very interesting. If it's a three-way with Punk, it means Punk's not in the world title match. Maybe it's seen. I don't know. It was a good setup for this match. I knew Jey Uso was over, but this is some next level popularity. He got an encore on his entrance. I haven't seen that since the SmackDown I was at in Montreal ahead of the Elimination Chamber 2 years ago when Sami Zayn returned. We wouldn't let him talk. Also, another Montreal show when after the WrestleMania 18 in Montreal, Raw, Hulk Hogan, the crowd wouldn't let him talk. Yeah, but this is, I guess, the modern equivalent of that, or the most recent equivalent of that. He's really popular, and that promo was incredibly emotional. I mean, I believed it. I think he honestly lost his train of thought, and he seemed overwhelmed by the moment. Because I mean, yeah, he used to be a tag team guy, and even though that's the character, that's the reality too. I don't think he ever thought the Jey Uso character was going to get to that level, even though he wanted to be at that level. And I think he's answering some of the real criticism he's got for some of his performances online as the character. And it's a real emotional story. And honestly, I mean, yeah, technically he could pick Cody, which would be weird, but Gunther is the ideal opponent for him. And his promo this night, well, you know what? Essentially what he said was, I want to face one of the bigger stars, without acknowledging the fact that Jey Uso is, in fact, one of the biggest stars in the industry right now. And I now think that Jey Uso should win at WrestleMania. Yeah, I thought Cody should win last time, or at WrestleMania 39 as well, too, but it was better when they waited a year. I don't think that's the situation with Jey Uso. Also, they already had the World Heavyweight title match that this will be a rematch for. That was on Saturday night's main event. I thought that was a random throwaway match, but no, that is the match that Jey Uso is, coming back from, the rematch at WrestleMania, and I think it's going to be huge. I now understand why they gave him the Royal Rumble win, and I even think that this match, I thought the World Heavyweight Championship might be the opening match on one of the nights. I think this could main event night one with the popularity of Jey Uso in the building. And also they're coming up on a European tour where the crowds are always really hot. I think they can keep this hot crowd going for Jey Uso right into WrestleMania. Jey Uso may be hot everywhere and definitely hot in Cleveland. Charlotte Flair isn't hot in Cleveland. In fact, she got roundly booed. Now, that might have been intentional. They might be setting her up to be a heel. But if that's the case, then her choice of sentimental, real story of struggle, trying to come back from an injury, might not have been the best choice. But she's always been kind of a gray character, way better as a heel than a babyface, but she sort of straddles that line. Also, she came to the ring in what looked like a raincoat, like a yellow raincoat. This is my other little bit of fashion commentary. Now, I'm a guy who, yes, I wear wrestling merch t-shirts on these videos, but the rest of the time I have like a rotation of 2 or 3 shirts. I'm not really one to be giving fashion advice. Just compared to how excellent she looked at the Royal Rumble, this was a really odd choice of wardrobe. But regardless, it's not about wardrobe. Like it wasn't with Seth Rollins. It's about her interaction with Rhea Ripley. I mean, if they're going to go with Charlotte the heel, Rhea is definitely a babyface that can go with Charlotte Flair. Now, I was really hoping for Charlotte versus Tiffany. I think most people were hoping, but you know what? I think they're testing out her with some of the other people, and we know that her and Rhea can have one of the matches of the year, if not the match of the year. I still hope she goes for Tiffany because I have other ideas for Rhea at WrestleMania, but you know what? If we get Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley round 3, I won't complain because you know that's going to be an incredible match. I was excited watching Io Sky versus Liv Morgan in the Elimination Chamber qualifying match, mainly because I really wanted to see Io Sky win the Chamber, and fight Rhea Ripley. Her or Bianca Belair, although I don't think it's going to be Bianca this year, but Io Sky is definitely someone I'd love to see fight Rhea Ripley this year. Of course, it looks like that's not going to happen because Rhea Ripley came in to neutralize Raquel Rodriguez, but accidentally got physical towards Liv in full sight of the referee, causing Liv to advance and win by disqualification. Now, first of all, I love the way Liv Morgan sold this victory. Just her facials are excellent. She's really getting into her own in this character. Just the way she was like, clearly realizing, wait a second, disqualified. Wait a second, I won. I get to go to the Elimination Chamber. Like, so much is said with just a few glances. But also, Io selling what happened. And this is the first hint of, maybe possible animosity between Io and Rhea. This is building to a match between Io and Rhea. Maybe it'll be at Elimination Chamber. Maybe we're going to get that. And then instead of Io being in the chamber, or maybe they're going to do have an extra spot at the end, and all the people who lost the matches have like a battle royal, and that's how Io is going to get in. I don't think we've closed the book on Io versus Rhea Ripley, but they just have to be really creative to make it happen, or make it happen at Elimination Chamber. The New Day versus LWO's Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee was a good match. Of course, the New Day stole one with the help of none other than Logan Paul. Now, I know that Logan Paul has a qualifier match for Elimination Chamber against Rey Mysterio next week, so that could be what they're setting up here. That obviously is what they're setting up here, and I'm pretty sure Logan Paul's going to win that match. But I find it interesting that Ludwig Kaiser, Pete Dunne, even Dominic Mysterio don't want to have anything to do with the New Day. That's a bridge to the heel side a little bit too far. But the one heel that doesn't seem to have a problem helping the New Day or being around them is Logan Paul. They've sunk to that level. I thought Penta's first match against Ludwig Kaiser was maybe not going to end in the victory, might end in the victory after a long, hard battle, and there'd be a rematch. But no, he got a clean victory rather easily. But of course, that was to set up the angle with Penta versus Ludwig Kaiser and Pete Dunne. They attacked him after. I'm hoping that this is just a temporary feud. I really want to see Penta versus Braun Breaker. Who knows? We might get there by WrestleMania. We have time. And these were my assorted thoughts on the February 3rd, 2025 WWE RAW. Also, it looks like the Creed brothers are going to be the War Raiders' next challengers. I think the War Raiders are going to prevail, give them some victories before they ultimately lose, I hate to say, to the New Day. And I think Chad Gable's either taking some time off, or we're going to get a series of vignettes of him hiking mountains or something like that to find out the secret of Lucha Libre. I think it's going to be the latter, but who knows? Do you agree with my thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. Okay, hear me out. The Wyatt Six were fighting Karrion Kross, and then they went to SmackDown. Maybe Kross learned from them the secret of interrupting the signal. And when Sami Zayn refused his help, he decided to try to interrupt the signal, but he didn't learn the technology well enough, so it just resulted in a bunch of glitches. You didn't hear it from me. Seriously, though, as somebody who had to endure watching WWE programming through the Sportsnet Plus app for the past few months when they clearly were losing all the programming and seeing all the glitches that they had. This is the first time there's been a problem with Netflix, and I think they're going to fix it. We should just let them fix it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. I'll be back with my assorted thoughts on SmackDown for Silo Voice Studios in Montreal. I'm Jason C. McLean.